So how would you feel if the whole world collapses just in a blink of an eye? In one night, everyone you know, everything you ever care about is now reduced to nothing but to a mere hollow shell of itself. And you feel helpless, you feel doomed, and you can't do anything to save those who you love the most. My name is Joe, and that's how the world went to shit. On the night when everything started, I have just come back from work with a horrible headache. My daughter Sarah was waiting for me, awake, even though it was way past her bedtime. She then handed me a gift. Caught up in my daily struggles, I had forgotten that it was my birthday. How stupid am I? How can a man get absorbed so much into those day-to-day things that he even forgets about his own birthday? But Sarah, oh Sarah, thank God she was nothing like me. Such a clever, sharp little girl she was. She had noticed my old watch was broken, so she gifted me a new one, stating that she got the money from selling hard drugs. What a funny little thing she was. I miss her every single meaningless second of my life. Anyway, after we watched some TV, she fell asleep on the couch, and later I put her in her bed. I was preparing to sleep when suddenly I heard an explosion not far from our neighborhood. I heard the glass shattering, the people screaming. I knew we weren't safe, so I just went out to check. I didn't want to leave Sarah alone, but I had to be sure that everything would be alright. I was just passing by the house next to mine when I noticed Jimmy, our neighbor, but I sensed something was wrong. His face was disfigured. He was growling like a mad dog, and right when he saw me, he started chasing me. I panicked and started running. I reached the back door, but Jimmy was still chasing me. I quickly took out my gun and warned him, but he didn't even listen. He broke the window and entered my house, seeking for blood. Back then I didn't know why, but his human nature was gone. Sarah, who was awake, hid behind me, and just before Jimmy reached me, I shot him in the face. I couldn't do anything else to protect my child and myself. Something wrong had happened. Everybody was going crazy, bloodthirsty. Meanwhile, my brother Tommy came to pick us up, so we quickly packed our stuff and left. We tried to escape the chaos on the streets. Every person was turned into some kind of monster, chasing the still normal people. We rapidly hit a dead end, so we abandoned the car and went walking. Attempting to flee the total disorder, it wasn't long until we were trapped again. So Tommy stayed behind to cover us, while I took Sarah into my arms and started running as fast as I possibly could with her. Around us it was brutal. People were eating each other alive. And when I just started giving up, we saw a soldier. For a moment I was relieved, thinking that we are already saved. But in this chaos nobody was. The soldier received clear instructions on the radio, and after some hesitations he lifted his gun and started shooting at us. We jumped down into a pit, and Tommy shot him right before he sent his last bullet into my head. My brother saved me, but for Sarah it was too late. My baby girl. The soldier had shot her in the stomach, and she passed in my arms. God, I would give everything to be in her place. 20 years have passed since the outbreak. The world as we knew it was long gone. Cities have crumbled into ruins. Nature had taken back the streets, and what remained of humanity lived inside a harsh quarantine zones, under the control of the military. Life was cold, ruthless, and survival was all that mattered. I was a smuggler. Together with my partner Tess, we were trading contraband and doing dirty jobs. From the outside, I was a man, but inside I had still the biggest wound I knew would never heal. One day we were hired for a very special job, something we never done before. We were asked to smuggle a teenage girl named Ellie. At first I was hesitant, but we were promised a good pay for our troubles, so we took the job. It was just normal cargo, just a normal day in the office, I thought. Oh boy, how wrong was I. It wasn't long before we discovered that Ellie was immune to the disease.
No, everyone turns within 2 days, so you stop bullshitting.
It's 3 weeks, I swear. Why would she set you up?
She had been bitten by an infected, but never turned into one of them. Everything was going smoothly until we were trapped by a group of infected. It was a tough fight, but we made it out alive. Just before, we were surrounded by soldiers who were looking for Ellie, God knows why. Eventually, we made it through them again. But just before I could catch my breath, I realized that Tess was bitten by an infected. I didn't want to continue without her. For me, Ellie was just another job, a cargo. I was still blinded by the grief of my little girl. But Tess saw something in her. She understood that Ellie was the only hope for this harsh world. So she made me promise her, just before we were assaulted by soldiers again. She made me promise her that I would take Ellie to the Fireflies, a rebel group that would take her and make her medicine somehow. So now I was lonely again, stuck with a teenage girl, whether I wanted or not. But now I was responsible for her. And as I was alone with her, she was alone with me. We headed to Bill's, an old friend of mine. He owed me a favor, so it was time for him to return it, as we needed a working car to continue west. But it wasn't all a bed of roses. In Pittsburgh, we were ambushed by a group of hunters. It wasn't until two brothers called Henry and Sam helped us and we got out of the trouble. For now, we spent some time with them, but just as everything was started to look normal, we were attacked by the infected. Sam was bitten, and when he turned, Henry couldn't take the pain. In despair, he ended his own life. Poor Ellie. She could not take a break. For the first time in years, she felt she had friends. Someone to care about. Someone to make her forget the cold and hopeless world we lived in. And then, everything was gone again. But we had to continue. We pushed forward to Wyoming, where we reunited with my brother Tommy. Man, I haven't seen him in a long time. Tommy had managed to build a small community, a place that felt safe for the first time in years. So I tried to do the only reasonable thing that came to my mind. I tried to leave Ellie with Tommy so she would be safe. But her words still echo in my head until this very day.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you.
Then I realized I was everything this poor girl had. I was her protector, her friend and her family, so I could not abandon her. We traveled to the University of Eastern Colorado, hoping to find the fireflies. Instead, we found an empty lab, and we were attacked by raiders. In the whole chaos, they injured me, badly. And now, our survival depended on Ellie. Through the winter, she kept me alive. She hunted for food, scavenged supplies, and cared for me as best as she could. One day she went missing for a long time. I was worried and went to search for her. I was still weak, but able to stay on my both feet. After searching for a long time, I found her laying exhausted. She told me she fought a group of cannibals. I took her in my arms and promised her that she was now safe. My baby girl. By spring, we finally reached Salt Lake City. There, the fireflies captured us. We were finally relieved that maybe this nightmare was over. They took Ellie to prepare her for the manipulation, but then they revealed me the truth. Ellie's immunity could lead to a cure. But to create it, surgeons would have to remove the infection from her brain. The procedure would kill her. Understand this, I could not let that happen. I could not go through the same pain again. I could not lose another daughter. So I took the only option left to me. I ended all the fireflies. Even the surgeons who were preparing her for the operation. I found Ellie and carried her, unconscious, out of the building. On our way out, we found Marlene, the Fireflies leader. She begged me to reconsider. She argued it was humanity's only chance. How can this decision be laid on me? How can I decide between the whole world's future and the life of the only person I have? There is no right choice to be made here, and I made my choice. I shot her, ensuring that no one would ever follow us. A little later, when Ellie woke up, I lied to her. I told her that the fireflies have stopped searching for a cure, that she wasn't the only one immune, and that nothing could have been done. It wasn't the truth, but I couldn't face losing her. I couldn't let her carry the burden of my decision. We went back to Tommy's settlement when she asked one last time if what I said was true.
Swear to me that everything that you said about the fireflies is true.
I swear.
I looked her in the eyes and told her it was, and she only replied,
Okay.
So that was my story. The choice I made will probably haunt me for the rest of my life. But it's the only one I can be in peace with. And if you don't understand me, what would you have done?